Everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Carolina Sanfona. I'm from Zabala Innovation. We are the coordinators of Mantra project. And on behalf of Mantra Consortium, I would like to welcome you to the information webinar on the Mantra second open call. Over the next hour, we will introduce the opportunities available through the Mantra, explain how manufacturing SMEs can benefit from our support services and funding, and guide you through the application process for the second open call. We are particularly pleased to organize this webinar on the context of MC Day of 2026, which celebrates the essential role that micro, small and medium-sized enterprises play, driving innovation, competitiveness, and sustainable growth across Europe. Today, manufacturing SMEs face increasing pressure to become more sustainable, more digital, and more resilient. Many companies know where they want to go, but often lack the resources, expertise, networks, or funding needed to make the transformation happen. This is precisely why Mantra was created. Mantra combines advisory, services, technology matchmaking, access to European innovation ecosystems, and financial support to help manufacturing SMEs accelerate their green, digital, and social transformation. Our objective is not simply to provide funding, but to accompany the SMEs throughout their transformation journey and help them turn into concrete actions. There it is in concrete actions and measurable impacts. Let me brief walk through today's agenda. We will start with an overview of Enterprise Europe Network and support opportunities available for SMEs across Europe. We will then introduce the Mantra project and share some results from our first open call. After that, we will present the Mantra community and platform, which are key elements to support the ecosystem and available to participate for the SMEs in Mantra. Next, we will focus on the Mantra second open call, including eligibility requirements, application procedures, evaluation criteria, and funding opportunities. Finally, we will conclude with key dates, practical information, and if we have time for a question and answers session. Before we start, I would like to briefly explain what we hope you will take from today's session. The webinar has to be designed to provide practical information for manufacturing SMEs interested in accelerating their green and digital transformation and exploring the opportunities offered by Mantra. More specific on today's webinar has four main objectives. First, to introduce the Mantra project and explain how it supports manufacturing SMEs across Europe. Second, highlight the different support opportunities available to SMEs through the Mantra and with our European innovation ecosystems. Third, to help you discover Mantra community and the platform, which provide access to resources, networking, and opportunities to with and specialized support services. And finally, to present the second Mantra open call and explain how eligible SMEs can apply for advisory support, technological matchmaking, and financial support up to 5,000 euros for the implementation of their transformation journey. With these objectives in mind, I am now pleased to give the floor to Christina, who will introduce the Enterprise Europe Network and the service available to SME to this important European network support.
Thank you, Carolina. Thank you all for being with us today. It's my pleasure to present you Enterprise Europe Network. I am Enterprise Europe Network Advisor at Inesctec, that is one of the host organizations in the Portuguese consortium at Enterprise Europe Network Portugal to support SMEs, and not only SMEs. So the main target and the main focus is supporting SMEs with a specific objective of support the SMEs that want to go abroad, to have an international ambition of growth and of presence, and also to innovate within the markets that you are present as an SME. Carolina, you can move forward. The Enterprise Europe Network was launched in 2015, so more than 15 years have passed since the first stone for the project. Is one of the largest support networks available, specifically targeting SMEs. So as perhaps you know, especially within this date, that the SMEs are the largest number of organizations in Europe. You can move forward, Carolina. Today, and within these more than 15 years of activity of operations, the focus of the network shifts a lot. And sorry, because I need to correct my dating. So Inesctec entered the network in 2015, but actually the Enterprise Europe Network was launched in 2008. This is why we are celebrating more than 15 years. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense with counting the years. So Enterprise Europe Network receives European funding because of the results that has been achieved within these years. It's not only covering EU, European countries, so they are part of European Union. There are different agreements being made yearly with different countries across the world, and you can see here a map that is shifting within different years of activity. And currently, I must say that I think it's missing New Zealand right now. But anyhow, you can see here the types of services and the support that we provide in Europe. We want to double cross with different organizations to actually have the opportunity of SMEs to go abroad, even abroad Europe. Okay, this map you can see live at the Enterprise Europe Network website, where you can have a section dedicated to the locations, the local points served by Enterprise Europe Network, where you can see in the website, so the identification of European countries and non-European countries, and you can actually enter in these countries and understand who are the local points that are supporting activities for the network. You can go further. How the network actually approach and how we combine expertise, and why is this network so relevant also. And we are very happy to be jointly with Mantra presenting this opportunity for you, because we actually work in a client-centric mode. So the type of individual support that each of your SMEs will receive with Mantra support services is actually one of the key activities that we do in Enterprise Europe Network. We first want to understand who are your organization, what are your ambitions, what is your starting point right now in terms of innovation, in terms of internationalization, even in terms of areas of readiness for sustainability activities, for digitalization activities. So we actually conduct a needs analysis and an action plan designed, tailored for you, for your organization. And our objective is within the advisory service, combine different types of experience, expertise of the network advisors directly for your need. Okay, you can move forward, Carolina. The type of services or the network approach that is present within the local points, within the expertise of the Enterprise Europe Network, you can see here. We touch base different types of advisory services. I would like to highlight here some of them. So Mantra has a specific support targeting here digitalization, even sustainability, innovation in social innovation aspects, but also sustainability very strong. And actually touch points, of course, the areas of resilience. How can we maintain sustainable in our operations and continue to grow our activities in a sustainable manner? Okay. Um, of course, Enterprise Europe Network focus also in support services around the European Union single market, areas like when I'm reaching different European countries, how does the single market operations facilitate our entrance in these novel markets, but also different areas of access to finance. And because of this, even because of this support service, our interconnectedness with Mantra is very important. So it's one of our key elements also in terms of advisory, identify projects, financing opportunities that could support our SMEs to create novel activities, to innovate in your operations. And Mantra is a fantastic model of enhance your capabilities and support you in different in activities that will boost your sustainable operations in the future. And also business partnering. So Enterprise Europe Network is known because of the maturity of their events, the B2B events. This is one of the common activities that all partners participate. And also we have not a community like Manta, and Carolina will present you, but a different type of database that you can also highlight your business activities and search for different partnerships and use this database of events and also business partnering opportunities to boost your visibility among the activities that you are going to do within Mantra and within the Mantra community. You can go further, Carolina, please. So this slide is an animation, so you can go until the end. Sorry for that. So you will see case by case what we are, the different areas of expertise that you are seeing now is areas of expertise of the Enterprise Europe Network advisors. So internally, we are organized in sectorial groups and thematic groups. You can go a little further because we have yes, you will see. Yeah, fantastic. We are organizing sector groups and even thematic groups to work within, and you can see here the different industrial ecosystems that Europe is having a close collaboration with. We are present in different, we in ESCTech are present in different groups like digital, like proximity and social economy. We were past in mobility. We are also in we were in mobility, transport, and automotive, also in retail. We have clients, we SMEs clients in different areas of this circle that you are seeing here, and more horizontal groups. And you can click the next slide, please, Carolina, where you can see the thematic or these cross-sectorial groups. One, I already present you the single market, the opportunities of the European single market, but I also would like to highlight also the women entrepreneurship thematic group that is very important to provide a specific space for leadership of business led by women. Also, intellectual property, one of the key aspects in terms of advisory is to understand how can we protect, safeguard our IP when going abroad, and even if you are not going abroad, how can you design and innovate having this particularity since the design of the new processes, new activities, new products, the intellectual property. We are also EN IP help desk ambassadors in Portugal. My colleague Alípio Torre, it's one of the ambassadors in Portugal, and also startups and scale-ups, just to highlight some of them. I would like to also to have here a safe point. Enterprise Europe Network is not a consultancy, so we are not having any kind of services that are charged, and we do not have any kind of business as usual activities. So Enterprise Europe Network provides advisory free services. We are also not competing with consultancies that of course, offer this service. We are in a mission of provide key information that are led not only by European legislators and all of these groups that you see here, the industrial ecosystem. We have advisors that are expert on these fields, but we do not provide consultancy services. This is very important to highlight because the network didn't want to, and this is a mission, we do not want to take out services that belong to consultancy services. Our activities are based as advisory. Okay, this just to highlight. Please go a little bit further, Carolina, with the slides. So, who are the network local points or the host organizations? As our example at INESC-TEC, we are an RTO, so a research institute, but we also have partners that are business support organizations, the traditional ones, chambers of commerce, business associations, innovation agencies. These are the typical network composition partners, and we serve mainly SMEs, but also within the industrial ecosystems, as you can see, as an example, opening the space for proximity and social economy, we can also serve organizations that are Imagine NGOs or non-profit organizations, okay? And I think that's it. You can also see the next slide. You can follow us, and I invite you to follow Enterprise Europe Networks in social media. So LinkedIn has a very high presence of the network, and even different local points of the network has their own page, like Enterprise Europe Network Portugal. We have our LinkedIn page, our public website, TEN AU, where you can see all the information that I present you also here, updated information regarding the local points of the map, and other thematic sections, even success stories of SMEs, where you can see in a more detail how can, as EN advisor, support your SME, and you can see different examples in sustainability, in digitalization within the success stories. Thank you all for being with us today once more. We are an open network, open to synergies, and Mantra is one of the projects that we are very happy to promote this open synergy, to propose Mantra to our community. And thank you for being with us today to get a little more information about Mantra, and we hope you are registered in our community today. Thank you, Carolina.
Thank you,
Han
Cristina.
enviado correos y lo que me estaba con todas esas cosas, los tengo sin leer
So
para
yeah,
hacerlo
overview
pendiente para
of
verlo.
the project.
O sea,
So now
han
that
enviado
we have
sí,
seen the broader support ecosystem available to SMEs
no tengo ni
through the Enterprise Europe Network, let me introduce Mantra. Mantra is a horizontal Europe project that aims to accelerate green, digital, and social transformation of the manufacturing SMEs across Europe. The project brings together specialized organizations from different countries and sectors to provide manufacturing SMEs with expertise, tools, networks, and funding needed to successfully implement their transformation project. During the next few minutes, I will explain you how Mantra works, who can participate, and what the types of support is available. Mantra is implemented by a consortium of 8 organizations from 7 European countries. Together, we combine expertise in innovation management, sustainability, manufacturing technology, transfer, business support, digitalization, and SME development. This multidisciplinary across the consortia allows us to provide comprehensive support to manufacturing SMEs throughout their transformation journey. The consortium includes technology experts, innovation agencies, business support organizations, and members of Enterprise Europe Network, as you saw in the presentation of Christina, ensuring both technical excellence and proximity to the SMEs. The overall objective of Mantra is to help manufacturing SMEs become more sustainable, more competitive, and more resilient. To achieve this, the project focuses on four main areas. First, supporting SMEs in their green digital transition. Second, providing practical tools, advisory services, and financial support. The third one is connecting SMEs with technology providers capable of supporting their transformation. And final, building a European innovation ecosystem where the SMEs can collaborate, learn, and access to specialized expertise. In other words, Mentor combine funding, knowledge, and collaboration opportunities within a single framework. The Mantra Second Open Call is specifically targeted at manufacturing SMEs operating in 5 sectors: food and beverage, plastic, ceramic, metals, and textile. Please note that all the Mantra project is also focused on the machinery, but for the second open call, as it was already strongly represented during the first open call, applicants will need, and they are not for the second open call, and the applicants will need to demonstrate their companies are operating under one of the eligible NACE codes to the corresponding of sectors for the second open call. One of the key features of Mantra is that it connects two different types of organizations. On the one hand, we have traditional manufacturing SMEs that are looking to improve their sustainability, digitalization, and competitiveness. On the other hand, we have technological providers, or what we call tech-savvy SMEs that develop advanced technology solutions and expertise. Venture acts as a bridge between those two groups, facilitating collaboration and helping manufacturing SMEs identify the technologies and partners best suited for their needs. The project focuses on adoption and advanced technologies identified by the European Commission, these 16 technologies that are listed on the slide. For the second open call, we aim to support an additional 25 SMEs, manufacturing SMEs, which will receive advisory support and access to financial support up to 50,000 euros. The mantra journey, the methodology that we define for the selected SMEs is structured around 4 main steps. The first one is an assessment phase where the SMEs evaluate their current readiness for green and digital transformation. Second is a matchmaking phase where sustainable technology provides and innovation partners are identified. Third, a series of tailored advisory services designed to help the SMEs define a realistic transformation roadmap. And finally, the implementation phase, where SMEs receive financial support to put that roadmap into practice. Throughout this journey, SMEs become part of Mantra community and gain access to a wider European innovation ecosystem. That slide shows the same journey in more detail. The process is divided in 2 phases. Phase A lasts 6 months and focuses on advisory support. During this phase, SMEs receive assessment, matchmaking, and expert guidance completely free of charge. Phase B also lasts 6 months and focuses on implementation. During this phase, selected SMEs can receive up to 5,000 euros to procure external services needed to implement their transformation roadmap. Each SME is supported throughout the process by a dedicated key account manager who acts like a single point of contact. The main benefits of Mantra is that SMEs do not only receive funding, they first receive expert support to identify the most appropriate transformation pathway for their business. This significantly reduces risks and helps ensure that investments are aligned with real business needs. By combining advisory service, matchmaking, and financial support, Mantra helps SMEs to move from ideas to implementation in a structured and efficient way. This is our technical assistance menu. And on point 3, you can see the services that are related with the phase A, which is free of charges and it's with assessment of the consortium. And the phase, the point 4 is related with the phase B, the one that within the catalog that we have in Metro. The SMEs can procure the services. Before moving on to the community platform, we would like to briefly share some results from our first open call. The first open call selected 25 SMEs, manufacturing SMEs from 11 countries in Europe. The selected projects cover different manufacturing sectors and demonstrate strong interest in sustainability, digitalization, and innovation. We are pleased to observe a very balanced participation in terms of gender representation. And those results confirm that the relevance of Mantra approach and the demand among European manufacturing SMEs for this type of support. And with this overview of the project, I will now hand over to Maria Paula Conte from IT Manufacturing, who will present the community and the platform.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Maria Paula Conte. I'm a strategic project manager within EIT Manufacturing South, which is one of the partners of the Mantra Consortium. And today I will talk to you about the Mantra community and platform. We can go to the next slide. So as Carolina briefly mentioned before, one of the key objectives of Mantra is to create an innovation ecosystem that can support the traditional manufacturing SMEs in their digital, green, and social transformation. To bring together all the relevant actors and stakeholders that can support the SMEs in their journey, we have created the Mantra community. The Mantra community is a living and dynamic environment where SMEs can interact with all these relevant stakeholders and exchange knowledge and experiences. We have involved several actors in this community. We just wanted to highlight some of the categories. For example, one of the categories is specialized business support networks, associations, and clusters. For example, one of them is Enterprise Europe Network, which you have just seen with Christina's presentation, but also European Digital Innovation Hubs, European Cluster Collaboration Platform, etc. The collaboration with these business support networks has already demonstrated its value during the first open call. Indeed, 2 SMEs that were selected in the first open call had received direct support from EEN organizations during the application process. This demonstrates that engaging with the ecosystem translates into tangible results. The second category of stakeholders we wanted to highlight are the EU sister projects. So these are other EU-funded initiatives which are relevant for the Mantra project. So other projects that are working on topics aligned with Mantra, such as the digital, green, and social innovation, but also with sectors relevant to Mantra. We have involved these initiatives also through the leaders coming from these projects that will be engaged in a series of capacity building activities together with the SMEs in a leader-to-peer type of engagement so that the SMEs can learn directly from their experience. And finally, the tech-savvy SMEs. These are the tech providers that are part of the community and that can be involved in the matchmaking process, as Carolina previously explained, and potentially be selected to work together with the traditional SMEs during their Mantra journey. If we go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So an important tool that we have created is the Mantra platform. In one sentence, this is a single platform where we have centralized the collaborations and the tools that the SMEs can use during their journey. This is where all the actors within the Mantra community can interact. This is also where we have centralized all the services and the resources that are available for the Mantra SMEs, and where we can also showcase the success stories from the Mantra journey. It's a dedicated digital workspace that allows the SMEs to personalize their journey, and it's also the platform that we use end-to-end to support all the phases of the Mantra journey. So this is where you do your application, where you can find all the forms and guidelines, and this is also where you will find the tools to use during the transformation and implementation processes. If you can do one click, please, Carolina. So I just wanted to highlight basically what you can find on this platform. We have different sections. We have a section where all the SMEs winners of the open calls are listed. We have a catalog where all the stakeholders within the community are listed. So for example, here you will find the business support networks, the associations and the clusters. And then we have a section dedicated to the tech SMEs. So we have a catalog where each tech SME has their own profile. One more click. We have also populated this platform with relevant resources for the SMEs. So for example, there is a comprehensive document that describes the European support that the SMEs can gain. For example, what is EEN, what they can do for you, what are the European Digital Innovation Hubs. And we also have collected several information about the other projects that are collaborating with Mantra. One final click. And as I said before, this is also the place where you can submit your application to participate as traditional SME. Next, please. So, as I said in the beginning, one of the key stakeholders within the community are the tech-savvy SMEs. And we are building this ecosystem where traditional SMEs and tech-savvy innovators can come together to create solutions for sustainability, efficiency, resilience, etc. And the Mantra community is where these stakeholders can interact. The expertise of the tech-savvy SMEs can directly support the traditional SMEs in their journey. And in order to apply to the expression of interest and join the pool of tech-savvy SMEs, candidates need to have experience in development, production, or commercialization of one or more of the 16 advanced technologies for the industry that we shown in a previous slide. There are a couple of additional eligibility criteria as well that concern mainly geographic eligibility and legal entity status, and you can find all the details in the guidelines for the tech-savvy SMEs. So how can someone apply to join this pool? If you scan the QR code on this slide, you will be redirected to a page to the Mantra website where you can find both a link to download the guidelines for the tech-savvy SME, as well a link to the registration form. So you need to fill in this registration form online, fill in all the requirements, and this will be then submitted as expression of interest. Next slide, please. What are the key advantages for the tech-savvy SMEs that participate to the Mantra community and join us through the expression of interest? First of all, there are business growth and market expansion opportunities because you will be connecting within the community with these traditional SMEs across Europe. You can increase the visibility of the services that you offer, and you will be forming strategic alliances. In terms of strategic collaborations, these are not limited just to the traditional SMEs, but also you can build relationship with the other stakeholders, so with innovation networks and clusters. You will gain EU-wide exposure. You can showcase your technologies, showcase your services, and you have the possibility to be engaged in EU-level events, workshop, and co-creation activities with the traditional SMEs. And finally, this is a huge knowledge sharing and innovation opportunity. You can share your expertise, but you will also gain insight into what the traditional SMEs need, what are their barriers. And this means that you can stay ahead of the trends in green and digital transformation across several manufacturing sectors. So in summary, there are several benefits to joining the community as tech-savvy SMEs. So if you know some SMEs that might be interested in joining, please spread the word. The process is not too difficult to follow and the benefits are several. So thank you for listening. I think I will hand it over now to Fiorella for the next session.
Thank you very much, Mari. Hello, everyone. My name is Fiorella Valenti, and I work in Brina Consulting. And now I will dive into the second open call details for this mantra project. Next slide. Yes. Okay. Let's start with the timeline that we are going to face for this second open call. As you can see on the screen, there are all the single steps that will allow you to start from the application until the actual starting of the projects once you have been selected. On the second line, there are all the dates on all the major milestones that should be highlighted. And of course, we will start from the application opening, which has been quite a few days ago, on the 15th of June. And then I will talk a bit later about this kind of application. But as you can see, there is already written there that second step, or at least part of the application step, is having the self-assessment application form filled out, together with a few more documents like the declaration of honor and the NACE registration documents, which the three of them are also mandatory together with the application itself. Then you can see that you will have time to send this application through the platform that Maria Paula already explained a few slides before, until the 30th of September. And this is a strong deadline. So anything received by that date will be considered and evaluated. And then, of course, evaluation is the step right after. This evaluation will be happening by or until until November 2026. So we will need, as you can see, couple months to make sure that we can go through all the applications received and we can carefully go through them and understand them in order to make the best decision of the selected ones. Once the evaluation is completed, if you have been selected, of course, you will receive a positive notification. And that means that you can start the pre-journey part of the mantra project. So there will be the preparation of the legal documents, such as the sub-agreement, and the signature will be happening around December. Of course, it depends exactly when everything is ready. And then once the signature has been done, you can actually start with your projects. So we can foresee that more or less every project, or the 25 selected projects, should begin by December, January of the next year, 2027. These, of course, the two strong deadlines are the 15th of June, so the beginning of application, and the 30th of September, the end for the application. Or the others will come along with the work that we have to carry out in each step. So yeah, I mentioned quite a few times that there are going to be 25 selected SMEs, and yeah, we can go to the next slide, please. Yes, I briefly mentioned that there are a few mandatory documents that have to be part of the application. One of them is the self-assessment tool. Carolina and Mari presented you two different tools. One was the technical assistant menu, and then the platform. And this is the third tool that is very useful for us to understand the level of readiness and the level of each SME at the beginning, at the middle of the journey, and then also at the end. This is like we can consider this as a tracking tool to understand what is the development, what is the improvement that is happening in the SME, but also, of course, in the projects that is developing. What is this self-assessment tool? It is a report on the readiness for the green, the digital, and the social aspect of your projects, and is also taking in consideration the innovation adoption and what kind of organizational change could be part of the journey. It is very important, as I mentioned, because for us is the best way and the easiest way to track the development, but is also supporting us in understanding and defining the transformation and the roadmap that we could suggest and support you with. And then it's also part of the tools that we use to understand the kind of services that each SME is requiring and is looking for, and also are best fitting for the needs that each SME specifically has. And lastly, is also useful for us in the phase of the matchmaking. So Carolina presented that the part of the Mantra project is the putting in touch two different kind of SMEs, so the traditional ones, the 25 that are selected for the journeys, but also the tech savvy and the more technological advanced ones. So this matchmaking, this match between these two different SMEs is also supported thanks to this self-assessment tool. Where you can find this tool, everything will be written in the guideline, of course, but just as a summary, it is you can have it in the link written here on the slide. And next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, here is just a summary and an overview of the probably most important information about the second open call. As Mari well said before, the platform is the absolute only way that you could submit your application, and anything that is coming outside of the platform, of course, would not be considered. Very important to highlight again that every application should be received by the 30th of September, and anything coming after, again, would not be considered. Through the platform, so once you start your application, you will be able to change it, update it, and modify it to your preference until it's kept as a draft. But then once it is submitted, you will no longer be able to make any change. So until at the end of the application time, so the 30th of September, you can still work on it, but then once it's submitted, it's done. As it was presented in the technical assistant menus, there are different services that can be provided. In the first half of the journey, so in the first 6 months, the services are provided by us, Mantra partners, and then in the second half, so between the 6th and the 12th months, the services can be provided through the grant that you are going to receive once selected. And in a bit, I'm going to go through what kind of services can actually be selected. But as a last thing that is important to be specified is that each SME, so 25 SME, are going to receive a grant of 50,000 euros each. To the next slide, Carolina, please. Yeah, thank you very much. And here is exactly what can be provided through the grant. You can see on the screen two lists, one of eligible activities and the other one of the not eligible activities. So let's start from the not eligible ones, just to be sure that they are highlighted. No personal costs, no equipment purchasing, and also no infrastructure, nor travel and accommodation costs, and no operational expenses can be covered through the 50,000 euros. This is very important to keep in mind when during the application you will have some questions strictly directed to what kind of services that you want to use the grant for, and then you will be asked to have more or less already a plan on how to divide this grant. And it is very important to keep in mind that all these costs will not be covered and therefore should not be foreseen as part of the request for the grant. On the other hand, what kind of activities then can actually be supported by the grant? It is the list on the left side of the slide. So you can consider any sort of specialized consultancy, coaching, feasibility studies, also prototyping and pilot testing are part of the eligible activities and costs, as well as the demonstration activities, digitalization services, and also in the end, sustainability services. very important to be highlighted is that the funding, so the 50,000 euros, is just for the external services only, which is the second half of the project. In the first half of the projects, there will be other services, the one listed in the technical assistance menus, that could be provided from us, Mantra partners, for free. And you will be asked to select, of course, the one that you consider most fitting for your needs. And you should be able to select a maximum of 3. So in total, is quite a high number of services among the one provided by us and the one supported by the grant that you could receive in these 12 months of the Mantra journey. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yes, this is the 3 main steps of the evaluation process. So there is first an eligibility check, second evaluation and a first screening, and then there is also a final evaluation. In the next slide, we start looking at the eligibility check. Yes, here it is. So what kind of check are we doing at first? To be eligible, you have to be an SME, of course. So the legal entity has to be registered as an SME. You have to be from one of the 27 European countries, keeping in mind that associated countries are not eligible. You have to do your application in English, and therefore the documents also should be uploaded in English. And I'm referring to the self-assessment, declaration of honor, and NACE code certification. They also have to be in English because those are the mandatory documents. Then if you want to upload any supporting documents, I can imagine like a presentation if you already have it ready, or any other supporting documents, possibly in English, because it would be easier for us to evaluate them. It would be appreciated. And then fourth eligibility check that we have to conduct is to make sure that you are actually part of one of the 5 sectors that we are going to tackle within the Mantra project. So plastic, textile, food, ceramic, and materials. Next slide, please. Yes, so we are looking for what kind of projects are we looking for? We're looking for projects that can demonstrate a credible transformation journey, a path along these 12 months, which of course the path can be longer, because we do not expect that a whole project just finishing in 12 months. But it's just part of it. And then we have to make sure that the kind of impact that this project is going to have is falling in the impacts that we have as a project. So we have 2 different kinds. One is environmental and the other one is social. I'm not going to read all of them, but you can see them listed on the slide. So each project must tackle at least one environmental impact and at least one social impact. Next slide, please. Thank you. So yes, as a second step of the evaluation journey, we have the first screening. So there will be a Mantra evaluation committee that will go through all the applications received. They will check all the eligibility first, and then also the project itself, and will be given will give some score with the criteria that you can see listed here on the slide. There are 4 different criteria. First one is the use of the advanced technologies and innovation potential. Second is the project quality and implementation strategy. Thirdly, we have the contribution to the triple transition and expected impact. And keep in mind that triple transition, we consider green, digital, and social, all the 3 of them together. And then the first and last criteria that we're going to use is the SME capacity and commitment. So all these are going to be the criteria that we're going to use to have a first screening of the project and start to like cut down the numbers of application. Next slide, please. Yes, and then we have the final evaluation. The final evaluation will be made by 3 different independent external experts. So all these 3 experts are going to go through the proposal. So the proposal, the project applications, and the average and of their evaluation will be the actual final one for your case for each application. There are different areas of evaluation. They are listed on the left side of the slide. So we definitely have the project execution and the mantra support, and this is important. What I was saying before, so like being able to specify what are you going to use the grant for. Then different areas will be the digital, the business, the environmental, and the social approaches. Keep in mind, please, that there are some points that could be as a bonus, so could be like extra points, and those are related to innovation, maturity of the pathways, the quality of the supporting documents, and the gender representation of the SME. And next slide, please. Yes, okay. This is something that has already been briefly or extensively explained before. It is about the service catalog that we have in the Mantra project. So there are the more technologically advanced SMEs that are part of this catalog, and this catalog is the base, is the ground from which the matchmaking then is later conducted. So the selected 25 manufacturing SMEs are going to match with one of these tech-savvy actually with more than one of these tech-savvy SMEs, and these external providers can be also suggested by you, manufacturing SMEs, but in this case, then the suggestions that that are giving to us will have to go through also a double check to make sure that is complying with the requirements. Otherwise, then we will use the one presented in the catalog that is also available on the platform that Mari was presenting earlier. Next slide, please. Okay, then, yeah, that was it from the second open call. And I give the floor back to Carolina for the closing remarks. Thank you.
Before concluding, I would like to briefly explain what happened after the company is selected. Mantra does not just simply provide funding and leave SMEs to implement their projects alone. Selected SMEs will work closely with Mantra experts and their dedicated key account managers to identify the external services required to implement their transformation roadmaps. Those services can be provided by organizations within the Mantra ecosystem, including the members of Enterprise Europe Network, European Digital Hubs, Open Innovation Test Beds, clusters, or other specialized innovation organizations. The objective is to ensure that the SMEs have access to expertise and support needed to successfully implement their transformation journey. As we approach the end of today's webinar, let me summarize the key elements of Mantra. So what is Mantra? Mantra aims to support green and digital transformation of European manufacturing SMEs through the adoption of advanced technologies and social innovation. How does Mantra help the SMEs? Through a combination of 6 months of advisory support, dedicated key account manager, 6 months of implementation support, financial assistance up to 50,000 euros, access to an European innovation ecosystem, and most importantly, all of this support is tailored to specific needs of each SME. Those are the most important dates to remember. The second open call open on 15 June and will remain open until 13 of September at 5 o'clock in afternoon, following the Brussels time. Following the evaluation process in November, selected applicants will be notified and the grant preparation process will begin. The Mantra journeys are expected to start between December and January of 2027. Therefore, if you are interested in participating, we strongly encourage you not to wait until the last minute and start preparing your application as soon as possible, as Fiorella was commenting before. It's really important to start the preparation of the applications. Applying to Mantra is a strongly forward process. There are 5 simple steps. First, join the Mantra community through the platform. Second, complete the application form and self-assessment tool. Third, upload the requirement supporting documents, including the self-assessment report, the signed declaration of owner from Mantra, and the proof of your eligibility and the NACE scope. Before you submitted your application through the Mantra platform before the deadline, finally proposed will be evaluated by Mantra experts and independent external evaluators. Selected SMEs will begin their transformation journey with personalized support and funding opportunities. Here you have the link for the application form. If you would like to learn more about Mantra, we encourage you to visit our website, where you can find the open calls guidelines, frequently asked questions, webinar recordings, and additional information about the project. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and stay informed about upcoming activities, success stories, and opportunities within the Mantra ecosystem. And of course, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us through the project email address. And if you want, you can also join the Mantra community as stakeholder. This brings us to the end of today's webinar. Thank you very much for your participation and your interest in Mantra. We hope that today's session was helpful and helped you to better understand the opportunities available through the second open call and how Mantra can support your green, digital, and social transformation journey. On behalf of the consortium, thank you once again for joining us today, and we will be happy to answer a few questions that you may have about the second open call. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you also, Maria.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for participating. We currently have 4 questions in the Q&A. And the first one is by Saber El Harti. Does pre-seed health tech startup qualify for the Mantra program?
I'm jumping in, and I think, Carolina, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It depends on the NACE code that you have, and it depends what kind of SME you are. If you are following, if you are falling into the criteria that we've shown and presented, then yes, you can qualify. Otherwise, not.
Okay. The next one is, are the minimal environmental impacts compared against state of art, or are the reductions improvements measured before and after the implementation of the project? And are the tools and expertise to measure this available for the participant? And that is from Clemens Wolf.
I think so. This is very important to say. It kind of depends case by case. During the first open call, we realized that all the applicants had very different phases of their own project. So some were right at the beginning, some were in the middle, and some were at the end. So to be able to have a comparison, for example, if you're at the beginning, of course there is no comparison, or at least like it will be start from zero. If you are at the end, of course you have already way more data, way more information, and it will be a different evaluation. The tools will not be available for the participant because it depends on your specific case. And then let me read again, sorry. I feel confident to say that is more against the state of the art, but it depends case by case. So we will have to see the application first. We will have to go through the application, understand the kind of projects that you have, and then we could be able to provide a better answer and to you. Yeah.
Yes, Thank you. Well, we already answered this, but maybe a repetition for Sarah Uboldi. Manufacturers SMEs should collaborate only with tech-savvy SMEs, or they can select differently with their tech providers.
So, but Mari, please, you answer, please, go for it.
Feel free to jump in, Fiorella. So a manufacturing SME, they can suggest or have in mind a tech provider they would like to collaborate with, but that tech provider needs, in any case, to submit an expression of interest, become a tech-savvy SME, and be part of the community. Because in any case, there will be a matchmaking process done during the mantra journey. So one of the consortium partner will perform the matchmaking process and provide a list of potential matches. This tech provider could be on it or could not be on it. And then, of course, the manufacturing SME is free to decide with which tech provider they want to collaborate. But even if they have someone in mind, they should submit the expression of interest to become tech-savvy SME and be part of the community.
Thank you. And a final one about the NACE codes. Could we go back to the slide possibly that has them? Is this the one? Yes. So the codes that you see here are the only ones that are eligible for the second open code. So your SME should fall under these specific codes. And I will also share from our frequently asked questions page. We have specific questions about which codes are compatible with NACE in other countries, such as France, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, and Denmark and Italy. And is there another question? Otherwise, we can close the webinar.
It seems there are no more.
Okay, it seems we are okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Fiorella, Maria Paola, and Carolina for presenting. Please follow our social media for our related updates. And yes, if you have any questions, please use the info email of the project to ask them. And have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Have a
everyone.
nice day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.